put winter behind us and enter the friendly, warm confines of Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland, where it is time once again for Ballroom Boxing. Hi again, everybody. I'm Larry Michael. It's a historic night in the ballroom tonight. This, of course, is Jon Saraceno. We will see our first ever Olympian to enter the ballroom. Clarence Vinson, a bronze medalist at the Games in Sydney, will take on the veteran Sandro Oviedo. Oviedo, a tough customer, has over 30 fights to his credit. A good challenge for Clarence Vinson.
It's a great challenge. He's only in his 6th fight, fighting locally out of Washington where he trains. This is a big night for Clarence Vinson, Larry. There's a lot of pressure on him to perform well in front of his hometown fans.
Yeah, you're right, John. A lot of pressure on Clarence Vinson tonight. Let's check in his locker room where Jon Scheinman has the Olympian.
You turned professional with great fanfare, a lot of backing, emotional support, financial support. How does that feel as far as expectations? Does it add pressure to you coming along as where a lot of other fighters get to develop their skills in a sort of an obscurity until they're ready for a coming out party? You have your coming out party before you even go into the pro game.
Well, you know, definitely it's a lot of pressure because everybody know that, hey, that's the kid that won the bronze from the Olympics, and they're like looking forward to like seeing what this guy has, you know. And the moment you have a bad performance, they start to criticize you. But hey, that's the pro game, you know. You just take that, you know, constructive criticism and you work on it, and you know, and you use it to benefit you. And being as though I got great coaches, you know, a great managing team, you know, promotional team, I feel great, you know. They're behind me 100%, and you know, hey, the most I could do is train hard, and that's what I do.
Well, we're looking forward to this tonight. Clarence Vinson, Sandro Oviedo. Let's see how it turns out later on. Let's go back to ringside.
All right, John, a big night for the Olympian Clarence Vinson tonight in the ballroom. Our first fight in the ring when we return. Don't go away. Ballroom Boxing is brought to you by Toyota, by Budweiser, the king of beers, and by Michael's 8th Avenue. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. We have a matchup now of two fine young fighters, Foreman-Armenta and Yuri Foreman with the outlook. Let's go to Jon Scheinman. John?
Larry, I'm really looking forward to this bout. Yuri Foreman is fighting for Lou DiBella, the former president of HBO. He had a fight last Friday night, and he's already back in the ring. Looked tremendous at weigh-in. Foreman-Armenta, one of the top young action fighters from Silver Spring, Maryland, coming out of this area. I look for an all-action bout.
All right, John. You know, Jon Saraceno, we've seen Foreman-Armenta before. Yuri Foreman is a guy that they have very high hopes for. A risky fight tonight for Foreman in the ballroom.
Well, they're trying to move him slowly, but this is the kind of fight where he could get a lot more experience than he bargains for.
You're right. Let's get this thing started with Pat O'Malley.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for more Ballroom Boxing. This is a 6-round bout in the junior middleweight division. Your referee in charge is Malik Waleed. The judges at ringside, Kenny Chevalier, Bill Holmes, and Don Risher. Introducing the boxers. First to my left, out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with red, weighing 154.5 pounds. He is from Silver Spring, Maryland, with a record of 4-1, 3 via the KO. Please welcome George El Gallo, the Rooster Armenta. To my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks, weighing 152 pounds. He is from Brooklyn, New York, by way of Israel, with a record of 2-0, 2 via the KO. Please welcome Yuri Foreman.
So Yuri Foreman, the well-traveled one from Belarus to Israel, now to Brooklyn, New York. Jon Saraceno, the well-traveled one as well with the matchup.
Well, you see the numbers speak for themselves, and they're virtually identical. Two young fighters on the way up. Very risky fight for both men.
Armenta has an amateur career of 170-25, and Yuri Foreman 78-7. Promoted by Lou DiBella, or represented, I should say, by Lou DiBella, Yuri Foreman. Foreman-Armenta, the chance of a lifetime to really make a name for himself tonight in the ballroom if he can knock out or defeat the prospect, Yuri Foreman. Here we go. This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds. These guys are junior middleweights.
Boy, if you're manage either one of these fighters, do you really want to put them in against the other guy at this point in their career? That's a valid question.
Down goes Foreman. How about that? Surprisingly, George Armenta puts him down. George Armenta has 4 victories, 3 by way of KO. Last time out, he knocked out Sylvester Clark. From Silver Spring, Maryland, my hometown, George Armenta gets started in a hurry.
Well, Lou DiBella doesn't look too happy right now. But it's the first round, so let's see if Armenta can follow up.
As John Scheinman mentioned, Yuri Foreman fought last week. 3-round TKO victory. His other fight came back in January of this year. So he tastes the canvas early here in round 1. Let's see if he can recover. Quickness of Yuri Foreman. He's on his toes, got the European style, has his hands held high in front of him. Got some redness around the nose. I know what George Armenta wants to do. He wants to rough him up.
Get out of there. Let's go.
Now you see the movement now by Yuri Foreman. Armenta's going to have to do something to stop that motion.
He is like a water bug.
Get off the head, George. Come on, let's go.
Really quick.
And he went down quickly too.
That was more of a flash knockdown, but still counts.
Almost a clash of heads there as you saw those 2 men come together. I think Yuri Foreman beginning to find a little bit of rhythm here, and Armenta maybe letting him off the hook somewhat after putting him down early in this first round.
Well, Armenta's got to find the target, and that's what he's trying to do right now against Foreman, which is not the easiest thing. You see the foot speed of Yuri Foreman, the in and out style. Both punchers kind of throwing one shot at a time here.
Counter left by Armenta. The speed of Foreman giving Armenta problems here in round 1. Despite the fact that Armenta put Foreman down early.
You hear the crowd getting behind Foreman. Down goes Foreman. I like that when you said that. I think you buy me.
Interesting first round for these 2 youngsters, George Armenta and Yuri Foreman. Fight is scheduled for 6 rounds tonight. We'll be back. We are back in the ballroom. Everybody having a good time, especially George Armenta early.
Well, that
Let's go.
right hand, and you're going to see it right down the middle.
Wow, down went Yuri Foreman.
Split the gloves down the middle, flash knockdown. He got up, but loses the round.
Foreman's got the European style, and not the typical European style because he's doing a lot of moving in the ring. But he has the European defense. And from the waist up, he's got a European style.
I'll tell you what, Foreman is very alive in this fight. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he really comes back and wins strong here.
George Armenta's had a long, long amateur career. Not the typical 24-year-old. 170 wins, 25 losses in his amateur career. The Rooster, George Armenta.
Armenta's got to close the gap between the 2 fighters. He's too far out. He's throwing a left hook from way on the outside.
Nice left hand by Armenta. And again, Foreman doing a lot of moving, but not scoring very much.
I'm beginning to see why DiBella, who advises Foreman, matched him against this fighter, because I think George is going to have a difficult time with this style of Yuri's. Missed with the straight right hand there that knocked him down in the first round.
Okay, break out of there.
What does that do for a fighter when he puts somebody down early? I guess he always has the knowledge that he's got the punch to put the man down.
Let it go. Let's go.
There's some kind of a psychological advantage there, I guess.
But it could be a disadvantage as well occasionally because the guy might want to throw that punch more than he should.
Watch your head.
Apparently, Lou DiBella did not want Yuri Foreman to take this fight, according to Dan Rafael from USA Today, who's sitting ringside with us.
Punch out, punch out.
Foreman doing a good job moving and staying out of the power punching range of Armenta. Loss for Armenta was by way of 6-round decision. Back in February of last year, only fought once in 2001. Took some time off after that loss to kind of regroup. And he is back against a very tough opponent, Yuri Foreman. Good left hand by Armenta. El Gallo, the Rooster. Armenta's right hand blocked easily by Armenta. You see some blood now from the nose of Yuri Foreman.
Armenta should be letting his hands go when he's on the inside like that. He's only throwing one punch at a time. There he's trying to throw combinations, but very wide. Not nearly the kind of skilled fighter that Foreman is. You can see the difference in the two.
Maybe, but Armenta doing some damage here as round 2 comes to a close. Ballroom Boxing brought to you by Budweiser. We'll be back. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Something for everyone in the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Jon Scheinman with us as well. 2 rounds of the books. Jon Scheinman, what's your scorecard say?
Armenta has let Yuri Foreman off the hook here. He just has not been busy enough. Jon Saraceno hit it right on the head. One thing I've seen in Yuri Foreman, yes, he's a good-looking prospect with heavy hands, but he has an extremely porous defense. And once Armenta figures that out, I think he's gonna really take control of this fight.
All right. Round 3 underway. Ballroom Boxing brought to you by Toyota. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno in the ring right now. Yuri Foreman in the black trunks. Is Foreman right across the back. There you see it. Armenta. His opponent tonight, 2 young fighters. Armenta 24, Foreman 21.
Foreman really starting to set down on his punches, particularly that left hook inside to the body. And he's staying busy with that jab.
Talked about what a knockdown will do for a fighter. What will it do to a fighter who was knocked down, even though Foreman really wasn't hurt in round 1 when he was knocked down? Any lingering effects there?
In this case, with that knockdown, I think there's absolutely none.
Down goes Armenta with a counter punch. I think it was a right hand by Foreman. And Armenta is hurt, takes a knee to regroup. Gets back up. Plenty of time here in this round. Let's see if Foreman can finish him off.
Good body shots underneath. Smart move by Foreman.
Armenta trying to hold on.
He wants to get Armenta to drop his gloves down so he can go back upstairs and try to stop him.
Armenta looking to survive here, taking a lot of punishment.
Wow, he is on him like wallpaper, all over Armenta.
Blood from the mouth of Armenta up against the ropes. Foreman just pummeling him with punches. Armenta doing a good job holding on here. Foreman will give him no room.
Armenta should really be grabbing him here at this point, Larry, along the ropes.
Watch your hands, watch your hands, watch your hands.
Armenta in some deep trouble here as Foreman puts him down earlier in this round and not letting up.
Oh, Foreman is a very sharp puncher. He's really a pinpoint puncher.
Keep the shots up.
Really puts his punches together well. They're short and snappy, very authoritative. There goes a mouthpiece from Armenta.
Armenta's mouthpiece on the canvas. He's in some deep trouble here, but somehow finding a way to survive.
He's got to just keep moving.
Foreman scores big with a right hand and another.
He's eating him up with that left hand to the body downstairs. Then he comes up with the right. There it is. Followed by the left hook.
Armenta doing the best he can to try to keep Foreman off. But to no avail. Foreman just a punching machine here. Walking right through Armenta, who will last the round. Welcome back to the ballroom. Looking back at action from round 3.
Let's go seconds, let's go seconds, let's go.
Gives the right hand. I wasn't sure. Good body shot there. It was the right hand.
Right hand snapped
right
his
over
head.
the top. And with 3 rounds in the books at the midway point, Yuri Foreman looking to continue what he started in round 3. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno, Ballroom Boxing, brought to you by Budweiser.
You know, when Foreman was growing up in the Soviet Union, he watched a fight on television. Mike Tyson against Razor Ruddock. I don't know if it was the first fight or the rematch, but he said he was hooked on boxing, Larry, after watching that fight. His family later moved to Israel, picked up the sport there, had 80 amateur fights, fought all over the world, but there were no gyms in Israel, so he ended up moving. And ironically enough, the only people who were boxing in the gyms where he was were Arabs. Of course, he's Jewish. He said that they began to respect him once they saw he could fight in the ring. And from there, he's been quite a prospect. Now trains out of Gleason's in Brooklyn. Everybody knows Gleason's gym. Where's that Star of David with the lion on his trunks? You could just see the kind of conditioning that Foreman has. This,
like a machine.
Yeah, this kid could go 12 rounds very easily.
Good left hand there by Armenta. Maybe his best punch since the first round when he put Yuri Foreman down.
No. You get off the head. Last warning. Let's go.
Malik Waleed with the warning to Yuri Foreman. Jumping in with the right hand. Foreman has such quickness.
And he's fearless. You know, he really is. And you have to have that instinct as a fighter.
It's a big opportunity for George Armenta to make a name for himself here.
Work out of it.
Against the prospect Yuri Foreman.
You know, this is really a great fight for a club show. If you think about it, this fight could easily be on a network kind of a show.
Sure. Big right hand again by Foreman. I mean, Armenta has a very strong chin, that's for sure. Now he's beginning to chase Foreman around the ring, and this fight becoming Yuri Foreman's very quickly here.
Great matchmaking by Chris Mittendorf, and probably even did a better job talking both sides into taking this fight.
Bring John Scheinman in quickly. What are your thoughts on Yuri Foreman, John?
I think he's a good prospect, matched extremely tough here, Larry. I think he's probably surprised that Armenta has stood up to his punching power. And this thing is going 6 rounds, and Foreman hasn't been that distance. I think it's going to be a very hard struggle for him down the stretch if Armenta can hang around.
A lot of redness around the face of Yuri Foreman as round 4 comes to a close.
Break out of there.
Another good round for Yuri Foreman, in command with his boxing ability. We're in the ballroom. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. In the ring right now, Yuri Foreman, the fine young prospect out of Israel, now fighting out of Brooklyn, New York, in the black trunks with the gold trim. And George Armenta, another young prospect, 24 years old. Both men have been down in this fight. It is scheduled for 6. You see Yuri Foreman, he's only had a couple pro fights, and neither one has gone past the 3 rounds. Looks like he could go 10, John.
Believe me, he could go the championship limit, and I don't think he's going to wear down. I think Armenta's going to wear down, and I think the other guy's going to be fresh as a daisy when it's over.
Armenta's been 6 rounds twice, 1 victory, 1 loss, both by decision.
The problem is Armenta cannot land enough effective punches because he's mostly on the defensive.
Well, the hand speed of Foreman,
he's a blur.
It's too much for Armenta right now. If he could have hurt Foreman and possibly take him out of his game plan.
You could see Armenta having to try to get set
Watch your hands,
and then throw his punches. By the time he does that, Foreman's gone. He's been unable to successfully close the gap between the 2 fighters.
Foreman continuing to circle, continuing to use the lateral movement. Good short left hand inside by Foreman.
Keep him up.
Armenta, nice combination inside. Armenta beginning to find a little confidence here.
But the problem is he constantly has to reach and wing and hope when he throws his punches that Foreman's going to be there by the time he delivers. And usually Foreman's gone. Good right hand by Foreman, and see how fast with the left. He is really quick. He is a handful. I don't know, if I had a 4-1 fighter with 3 knockouts, there's no way I'd get near Yuri Foreman.
Yuri Foreman continues to move. He's had a little blood trickling from his nose from the very beginning of this fight. Double hook, body and head. Not many boxers have the speed to be able to pull off that combination.
Armenta landing very few effective blows in this fight. His first one was his best one, and that knocked down Foreman.
Okay, break, stop punching, get out of there, okay.
You see why Foreman is such a nice prospect, why he's so highly thought of, John. Oh, ripping body shot.
He did it again. Did it twice.
It's causing me pain here at ringside.
Well, he's in and out with his punches. What a performance.
Good performance so far for Yuri Foreman. This is Ballroom Boxing. Brought to you by Toyota. The 6th and final round will be next. Action from the 5th round. It would appear that Yuri Foreman leading this fight after getting knocked down in the 1st round. George Armenta having some moments in the 5th. As the 5th round came to a close, let's get the scorecard from Jon Scheinman as the 6th and final round is underway.
I've got Yuri Foreman comfortably ahead, 48-45. Armenta would need a knockout to win. You guys have hit it right on the head. Beautiful boxing skills, fast-handed Yuri Foreman. I think he has some defensive liabilities. He's going to have to work on his career. But, you know, when you're punching like he is, they don't really show up too often.
Jon Scheinman's scorecard, 48-45. And Mr. Saraceno, you concur?
Yes, identical.
Yuri Foreman misses the whizzing right hand. George Armenta, you might recall, put Foreman down in the 1st round, so puncher's chance is still there. But it's equally there for Foreman at this point.
Well, now Foreman's decided to get on that proverbial bike and motor a little bit. I'm not so sure he even needs to do that. I'd keep fighting the way I was. It's been very successful the last 4 rounds with it. They gave him all 4 of those rounds, 2 through 5.
Foreman has a lot of speed, great leg work, quick hands, and power.
Let his arm go, Yuri.
And he really restored a lost art here tonight, and that's body punching. Oh, good right hand.
Armenta hurts Foreman here in the final round. He needs a knockout to win. Let's see if he can do it. Foreman wobbled by George Armenta.
Well, maybe he should get back on that Schwinn.
Wow. Big time drama here. As Armenta beginning to bring the heat.
Foreman showing a good chin, but he definitely was wobbled slightly, and now he's coming on.
Foreman cut under his left eye.
Keep it clean. Break, stop punching.
Does Armenta have enough here to put Foreman out? I'm not sure.
Let him go.
And Foreman right there, John. You think he should be moving a little bit?
Well, no, he's crowding him, and Armenta's probably out of gas. He's not going to give him any punching room. I'd be shocked.
Okay, let's go.
A little blood, yeah, coming from that cut on the left cheek of Foreman.
Foreman staying right there in front of Armenta, giving him a chance to stay in the fight.
Well,
and Armenta's throwing, I mean, from his heels. Good body shot by Foreman.
Foreman's crowding him, and there's some holding going on. I don't think Armenta's going to get enough punching room here to matter.
Well, the winner and loser tonight both have gone to school. Whoever they may be, however this fight ends up, both these young fighters have learned a lot.
Terrific body punching by Yuri Foreman coming underneath in the solar plexus.
Get out of there, let's go.
Closing seconds of this fight. George Armenta does his best in the final round. Great fight, great 6th round fight here in the Ballroom. So George Armenta and Yuri Foreman go the distance here in Glen Burnie, Maryland. And the question is, who came out on top? George Armenta put Foreman down early in the fight in the 1st round. Foreman returned the favor later in the fight. Foreman did dominate most of the fight, John, but Armenta did what he could do at the end, but I believe the margin, the lead that Yuri Foreman had, maybe just too much. Let's take a look at round 6.
Well, you see the final round where Foreman, after he got jolted, all over Armenta along the ropes. Had enough to hold him off. They had Foreman winning the fight by 2 points. Of course, that first round knockdown helped Armenta jump out to a quick 10-8 lead. But it wasn't enough for Armenta to come back in that last round. Couldn't quite get it done. And we think Yuri Foreman won that fight fairly handily.
We think so. You never know. We're going to find out. The fight in the books, it goes the distance, 6 rounds. We'll find out who won after a timeout. You're watching Ballroom Boxing. Now welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Our fight goes the distance, 6 rounds. George Armenta and Yuri Foreman. We saw a little bit of everything in that fight. We saw both men go down. We saw Foreman dominate through the middle rounds of the fight. We saw a comeback by Armenta in the final round. Just a great fight, John.
Larry, what we really saw was Yuri Foreman, an up-and-coming fighter in terrific condition, throws punches with power, really looks to be a fine boxer, and has a great future in front of him.
There he is, Yuri Foreman. Was he the winner? Let's find out from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We go to the scorecards for the verdict. Judge Don Risher scores it 55-57. Judge Bill Holmes scores it 55-58. And Judge Kenny Chevalier scores it 56-56. We have a majority decision, and the winner is Yuri Foreman.
Really no complaints. Yuri Foreman victorious tonight. A smattering of boos from the crowd, probably because George Armenta is from nearby Silver Spring, Maryland.
But he lost the fight.
Yuri Foreman brings along his own cheerleaders tonight to the ballroom, and they're proud of their man. Yuri Foreman comes off the canvas in round 1. A workmanlike decision. And it was not a unanimous decision, John. One of the referees had it as an even fight.
A little bit surprising there. We thought Foreman held sway by at least a couple of points. Yuri Foreman putting on a fine performance here in Glen Burnie, Maryland.
Yuri Foreman making his way over to talk to John Scheinman. See the cut under Yuri Foreman's eye. Well, you know, Jon Saraceno, you see a guy like Yuri Foreman, you see this fight. Check him in a couple years. See how much this fight meant to him.
Yeah, well, this is the kind of fight that all fighters have to have coming up. I mean, you got to see different styles. And, you know, Lou DiBella, who's his advisor, threw him in with a guy who could fight. Armenta's a guy who can fight. But unfortunately, he was 2 beats slower, if you're Armenta's corner, to catch up with Yuri Foreman.
We'll be right back with John Scheinman and an interview with the winner. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Let's see what the winner has to say. He's standing by with John Scheinman.
Yuri, George Armenta put you down with a flash right hand right at the beginning of the first round.
Right.
What's going through your mind right then?
Well, I was thinking, like, get up and fight and win the fight. That's basically what I did.
You seem to get on your bicycle and then really begin to let your hands go in the middle rounds, and you worked with your speed a lot.
Right. I saw him. I saw the opening, and I hit in the punch, and basically going down. I got a strong punch, but I have to give him a credit, man. This is just really tough guy. Really tough fighter.
You fought just last week, and you came back on very short notice for this fight. In retrospect, was that a good idea?
Yeah, this was a great idea. This is experience, and this I heard Judge. He had like 150 amateur fights.
That's right.
And he had great, good amateur career. I had less, so for me it was basically a very good experience. I was so happy to fight here.
Yuri Foreman, extremely bright young prospect, gets a big win here in the ballroom to remain undefeated at 3-0. Let's go back to ringside.
Yuri Foreman goes to school tonight and comes out with a passing grade. More Ballroom Boxing coming up in a moment. Welcome back to the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno, and in the ring, Pat O'Malley here to introduce a 4-rounder. Let's go to Pat.
A 4-round bout in the junior middleweight division. Your referee in charge is Gary Campaneschi. The judges at ringside, Kenny Chevalier, John Gradowski, and Malik Waleed. Introducing the Warriors. First to my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks with black, weighing 157 pounds. He is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with a record of 2-4-1. Please welcome Judson Slick Washington. To my left, out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks, weighing in at 155 1/4 pounds. He hails from Baltimore, Maryland. He has a record of 2-0, 2 via the KO. Please welcome Ishmael Arvin.
Arvin unbeaten. We've seen him in the ballroom before. Very impressive fighter. John, take a look at the matchup.
One thing I like about Arvin is he doesn't have a nickname, and you see from the numbers here a slight reach advantage, which could come into play for Arvin.
Arvin, 26 years old. Judson Washington from Philadelphia, 31 years old. Says his biggest influence is the executioner, Bernard Hopkins. And we'll see if he fights as well. Gary Campaneschi is the third man in the ring. This fight is scheduled for 4 rounds. And we are underway. Ishmael Arvin in the black trunks, in the white trunks, Judson Washington out of Philadelphia. Ishmael Arvin has a lot of strong credentials coming in. Best win was the 2000 Golden Gloves. So he's a pretty slick boxer, age 26. Both men conventional fighters wearing the ballroom boxing gloves. Good overhand right by Washington. Washington's record, as we said, 2-4-1. No knockouts to his credit. Ishmael Arvin has won all of his fights by knockout, and there you see why. Got a very strong right hand, John.
He's going to be on our lap in a minute.
Question is, does Washington have enough to gain any kind of respect from the very aggressive Arvin? I think he might have scored inside there, did Washington.
Arvin had a long, extensive amateur career. Very good amateur fighter.
Blood already from the left eye of Judson Washington, and it's that right hand just tattooing the face of Washington as Ishmael Arvin is bringing the heat early in this fight. Clubbing right hand.
Arvin has come out no warming up. Judson Washington in all kinds of trouble, and this fight is close to being stopped.
Washington in deep trouble.
It looks like Campaneschi's going to let him go.
He's talking to him. There's blood flowing, as you can see from the eye of Judson Washington. He's been knocked out 3 times before, and this might be his 4th.
Fight should be stopped. It's real close.
Gary Campaneschi right on top of the action, giving the fighter a chance. He's not responding with any offense. Now he holds on.
Wow.
Blood from the mouth of Washington as well.
You hate to see a young fighter who's only won 2 of 7 fights take a beating like this in the first round.
Stop punching, break. Break.
And you wonder if he'll be able to. Look, he can't even step around the ring. His legs are very rubbery right now.
Fighter's unprotected.
And Gary Campaneschi gave him as much time as possible.
Yes, he did.
So Ishmael Arvin wins it in impressive fashion in the first round, John. You gotta like the power punching of Arvin as he put him away in the first round.
Well, he came out throwing vicious combinations right to the head, backed up Washington along the ropes. Washington never really recovered. But I tell you what, he's a game fighter to hang in there the way he did, especially after that brutal knockdown and being cut in a bad place along that left eyelid. The blood was coming down around the eye. He really gutted it out, but Gary Campaneschi did the right thing finally and halted the action.
You know what, John? You see a lot of different fighters here in the ballroom. Ishmael Arvin, a youngster, 26 years old, impressive power. What do you think his future holds? Let's take a look at how this fight ended in round 1. And he really brought it to Washington.
Well, he was pressing the attack Saw him shoot the long right hand. He missed. Little off balance when he's throwing that punch. Chasing Washington. Washington not seeing the left hook coming from an unorthodox position. That's when Campanishi finally decided that Washington had enough as he was stumbling about the ring, his legs not underneath him.
And I guess one of the things you could say is how much is too much, when is it too long? And you really don't know unless you're the referee in the ring. But you could feel the power from ringside as Ishmael Arvin just took apart Judson Washington in the first round. Let's go to Pat O'Malley for the official time of the knockout. Pat.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by knockout of 2:25 of round 1, Ishmael Arvin.
Arvin, person to watch, a boxer to watch in the future. In the first round. Arvin showing a lot of power, well-conditioned boxer, has a lot of skills. See Jon Scheinman getting set to interview Arvin. Got it done in a hurry. And let's go ahead and send it up to Jon Scheinman for the interview. Jon?
Ishmael, not much of a feeling out round there in the first round. You seemed to just hop right on him and never let up. Was that the strategy coming in, or did you see something early?
No, that wasn't my strategy. I came in the box, but I saw that I hurt him easily, so I just tried to get him out of there, make a quick night.
Now you're developing a reputation as a bit of a puncher. Is that what you came into your pro career as?
Yeah, I want to be a boxer and a puncher, but they won't let me box.
Do you think you need a bit tougher, more competition, because you didn't get a lot of rounds here?
I'll leave it up to my manager, man.
Ishmael Arvin, he's going to do the talking with his hands. Let's go back to ringside to Larry and Jon.
All right, good performance by Ishmael Arvin here in the Ballroom, a boxer to watch in the future. We'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing after a timeout. Don't go away. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Unbeaten George Walton is about to take on the veteran Derrick Whitley. Both men are primed. Both men are ready. Let's get the outlook from Jon Scheinman.
Larry, at the weigh-in yesterday, I saw Derrick Whitley in the absolute best shape I've ever seen him in. He is so ready for this fight. If he wins it, he'll even his record at 17-17. It may not sound like a lot, but that's a big impetus for a fighter like him. And he's having the toughest fight of his career against George Walton, one of the brightest prospects coming out of New York right now, 11-0. It should be a great fight.
George Walton is 11-0, as Jon Scheinman says. How good could George Walton be, Jon Saraceno?
Well, we don't know yet. And he's had a series of easy knockout victories, 5 in a row. And a lot of times you could build false confidence if you're not doing the right things in the gym by having easy fights outside the gym when it comes time for the real show. So we got to see if he stays on his P's and Q's, but you know he's got that New York attitude. The guy's from Queens, so he looks like a real fighter.
Now this should be a great fight. Let's get it started with Pat O'Malley.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for more Ballroom Boxing. This bout in the 8 rounds in the super middleweight division. Your referee in charge is Bill Holmes. The judges at ringside, Gary Campaneschi, Kenny Chevalier, and John Gradowski. Introducing the Warriors. First to my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the red trunks with black, weighing 165.5 pounds, from Holyoke, Massachusetts, with a record of 17-1, 8 via the KO. Please welcome Derrick Double Impact Whitley. To my left, out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks, weighing 162.25 pounds. He hails from St. Albans, New York. He has a perfect record, 11-0, 7 by the KO. Please welcome George Blaze Walton.
Neither one of these men is a stranger to the Ballroom. This is 11 times combined they have fought here at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Jon Saraceno, what's that matchup look like?
Well, you can see the numbers fairly even. Probably the most important number, though, is the age. George Walton, a young fighter on the way up. Derrick Whitley, the veteran, trying to hold his position.
Derrick Whitley coming off the best win of his career, an upset of James Coker. And this will be Walton's 4th straight appearance here in the ballroom. He just loves it here. And this is his stiffest test to date. Unbeaten George Walton against Derrick Whitley. Here we go.
We're going to learn something about George Walton tonight. Is he a guy that maybe when he can see he can get over on an opponent easily as a front runner? Or is he going to get tested tonight and show that he's a genuine prospect, knows how to come back from a little adversity maybe?
Whitley in tremendous shape for this fight. And Scott Wagner said it best. Derrick Whitley is the gatekeeper. Does Walton get past him and move on, or does he get turned away?
Whitley, of course, fighting southpaw. And I don't know how much experience George Walton has with left-handers.
George Walton, just a pleasant individual. Very happy guy.
He is. He's got a good attitude. And you see how patient he is here trying to decipher the left-hander. There he shot the lead right hand, which of course is a good way to get things going.
Walton in great condition. Both these guys are in great condition. At the weigh-in,
Stop.
Walton weighed 162 and a quarter. Whitley weighed 165 and a half. Question here could be stamina. You know, George Walton has never been past 6 rounds. This fight is scheduled for 8. In fact, his last 3 fights have gone 3 rounds or less.
He's had a series of easy wins. And a lot of times, you're not learning a whole lot when that happens. Depends on each individual fight, of course. There's something to be gained from each one. But a lot of times a fighter can have false confidence build up, particularly when he's knocking out and stopping guys.
Derrick Whitley, the veteran, 34 years old from Massachusetts, just like his brother Darrin Whitley, father of 6 children.
Step back, step back.
I wouldn't want to be at that table on Thanksgiving at the Whitleys. You'd have to be fast.
Whitley's been in the ballroom quite a bit. His record here in the ballroom, 6-1-1. His overall record, a losing record, 16-17-1.
Trying to get to 500. It's going to be a tough test.
To do it, he has to beat George Walton for the first time. Walton would have to lose for the first time. Walton up against the ropes. Whitley doing a good job there.
I like Walton's composure. He's impressed us with that before. Very poised, young fighter.
Body shot by Whitley.
You see Whitley being a little stronger, able to shove back Walton.
We knew it would be a tight matchup. Round 2 coming up next in the ballroom. We're back in the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Ballroom Boxing brought to you by Toyota. Special thanks also to WJFK for being with us again in the ballroom tonight. In the ring right now, George Walton.
Stop.
Along with Derrick Whitley. George Walton in the black trunks, Derrick Whitley in the red and black. See Whitley moving away. Walton really has not found any rhythm here. The experience of Whitley causing him some problems.
Well, Derrick moving away from the right hand, moving to his right. Stay out of the power. Those are not scoring blows.
Not to the head and body. Good defense there by Whitley.
None of those are scoring blows. 5 punches landed. You really get credit for none of them.
Whitley's such a good defensive fighter. Walton really has to show patience, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. This is not going to be an easy fight. We knew that coming in. Whitley's got a wealth of experience. The fact that he's a southpaw makes it doubly tough. And he's, you know, fighting in a place he's accustomed to fighting in. Even though Walton has kind of become a favorite here too, Whitley's fought here a lot more.
Walton needs to give him some angles. Johnny is standing right in front of Whitley. He needs to move a little bit to the side and find an angle of approach. Talking about styles making fights. This is a very cautious fight so far because of the styles.
Well, Whitley will try to make you pick him apart from the outside, and that's where he's going to have an advantage. Taller, longer reach.
Walton doing a good job at least trying to go to the body here.
He should be jabbing a little bit more, though. Even against the left-hander. He's really abandoned the jab.
Derrick Whitley taking the lead offensively in this fight here in round 3.
Now Whitley goes right-handed briefly.
Check that, it's round 2. And Walton just continues to walk around the ring and follow Whitley, follow up against the ropes. Whitley covers up and Walton expends energy.
Well, this has the ear markings of a very tactical fight that's going to go the distance. And I don't know if it's going to be a crowd pleaser.
Well, a fight like that would go the favor of the man with the experience if it's going to be that type of fight. Wouldn't you agree?
In theory, but you like the more talented fighter, period, and I think that's Walton. But he's going to have to close that distance and start throwing punches a little bit more frequently.
Whitley throwing with bad intentions right now and scoring. Walton's hurt as round 2 comes to a close. A good finish to the round for the veteran, Derrick Whitley. Round 3 will be next. Don't go away. Action from round 2.
Larry, this is a very key point of the fight. If that was the end of the round and Whitley really turned it on, we're not really going to be able to see all of it, I don't think, but Whitley.
It's a good body shot that got it started.
Yeah, he hurt his opponent there. Walton.
It's a good body shot. Let's go to Jon Scheinman for a 2-round scorecard. John?
2 rounds to none. Derrick Whitley, I had him steal the round with the power shots at the end there, Larry. I'll tell you something. Whitley is in a comfort zone. He's picking off anything that Walton throws, and Walton's aggression just doesn't seem fierce enough here. He's going to have his hands full. He's going against a larger fighter with good defensive skills and good counter-punching capability. So far, Whitley's in control.
Walton trying to rough Whitley up a little bit here and doing a good job.
And that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to take some chances. He can't just stand on the outside like that. Walton's used to getting off combination and power punches. He's been unable to do that, as John noted. Really struggling with the southpaw stance.
Step back,
Here in this round, however, Walton starting quickly with action to the body.
You've got to be a lot more aggressive when you're fighting a left-hander.
Well, see, Whitley just continues to slide to the side, and Walton doesn't have the move to counter that. Good body shot by Walton. Walton beginning to find the body a little bit now of Whitley. Whitley trying to give him some of his own medicine here.
Those punches, by and large, are being picked off.
Both men in great condition again. George Walton in the black trunks. Never been past 6 rounds.
Well, Walton feels it's his advantage to fight off the ropes here a little bit. I'm not so sure about that, but he wants to get Whitley closer.
As powerfully built as Walton is, John, it seems like Whitley's a stronger man, at least to this point.
He has been, and I think we saw him push Walton back in that first round, and that was a little bit of a telling moment where he exerted his will and physical strength, and I think that Walton felt that.
Walton isn't even breathing heavy, however, and we're here in the 3rd round. So
well, he hasn't been doing a whole lot.
Let him go.
And you got to give Whitley credit for that too. Whitley's really been outboxed him through the first 2 rounds. Walton a little bit frustrated there. He tried to throw the lead right hand.
This combination, the left hand scores right on the lips of George Walton. Some blood from the nose of Walton now after that flurry.
That's where Walton's got to fire back when Whitley's finished.
That combination started the blood flowing from the nose of George Walton.
This is turning into a major struggle here for George Walton. We thought it could be this kind of a fight.
3rd round winding down. Another good round for Whitley. Walton had his moments, but Whitley with the flurry busts Walton up. We'll be back with more from the ballroom. Action from the 3rd round, Derrick Whitley and George Walton. This is the flurry that busted up the nose of George Walton. Might have been that left hook, clipping him right on the nose. Corner stopped the blood from the nose of George Walton. Round 4 is underway. This fight is scheduled for 8 rounds. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno ringside in the ballroom. Ballroom Boxing brought to you by Budweiser Beer. George Walton in the black trunks. Derrick Whitley in the red and black trunks. John, you see Derrick Whitley, the veteran, though 16-17, has the losing record. Really teaching George Walton a few things in this fight. And the blood continues to flow from the nose of George Walton.
Well, Walton still trying to find his rhythm against Whitley. Whitley's boxing ability from the outside giving him problems, and also a natural strength advantage. Blood still coming from the nose of Walton.
Hold.
Whitley apparently got some kind of a warning there from referee Holmes for holding. Good counter work there by Whitley to keep Walton off. Walton beginning to bring it a little bit. Whitley countering nicely off the ropes.
Break, step back. No punches,
Whitley is doing a lot of grabbing and holding, particularly after blows exchanged.
George Walton really never changes expression. But again, straightforward fighter coming right at Whitley. He's had the answer so far.
Well, Whitley continuing to circle and stay out of the range of that right hand by Walton.
Break, step back, no punches, step back.
That was a dirty move by Whitley there. He heard Holmes say break and he tried to sneak one in. Blood coming from that right nostril of George Walton. There's the right hand.
Right hand scores. Whitley caught up against the ropes. Whitley fighting back nicely. Opening up.
Oh, Whitley
Taunting him a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
Whitley has never been stopped. Never been down in his career.
Really amazing feat. That was a good right hand by Walton. But Whitley didn't go anywhere. In fact, it looked like it woke him up.
Best punch of the fight for Walton, but Whitley came back with a long barrage to counter. Whitley's got the quicker hands, at least so far. George Walton maybe scoring his best shots of the fight in the 4th round.
You see what Walton was doing there. Whitley was holding him, so he was clubbing him with the right hand.
And the 4, the midway point in this fight in the ballroom. More to come, don't go away. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Action from round 4 as George Walton tagged Whitley up against the ropes. Maybe the best punch of the fight for George Walton.
It was definitely his best moment as we head into round 5.
Midway point in the fight, John Scheinman. Who's ahead on your scorecard?
Well, I've got Whitley ahead still, 39-37. The last was the first round I gave to Walton. But I'll tell you something, Larry. George Walton is laying the foundation for a long-term victory here by working the body methodically. He has not stopped punching to the body. It's not flashy stuff, but he's really doing a number on Whitley downstairs. I think it could pay dividends later on in the fight.
Jon Saraceno, who do you have ahead after 4?
Same score. Good point about the body punching. If Whitley wasn't holding so much, it would be more interesting. Holmes is going to have to watch that, the referee.
Break, step back, no
Holmes
punches,
steps in to separate these two.
He's got to make Whitley fight, otherwise this is going to be a stinker.
You sense Whitley might be slowing down a little bit here, John.
Well, I think he's pacing himself. He's a veteran, and he's not going to waste a lot of energy uselessly.
Break, step back,
George
no punches,
Walton is
step back,
11-0. 6 of his wins, actually 7 of his wins have come by way of knockout.
We've been impressed in the past with his skills, his boxing and punching skills. But tonight, this is an odd styles matchup for George Walton out of Queens, New York. And, you know, let's face it, Whitley's taking him to school here a little bit. He's learning as the fight goes along. The problem is he going to run out of rounds as Walton?
Tough fight to score. There's been a lot of grappling. Some good clean punching there by Whitley.
That's the old shoe shine.
Walton goes back to the body work that Jon Scheinman talked about. Oh, ripping left hand there. Gets through the guard of Whitley. Walton beginning to turn it up a little bit here, John. Frequency of punches and power as well.
Step back.
It's almost like he's making a concerted effort to turn it up a notch.
I'm impressed with this young man's poise. Walton really doesn't get flustered very easily. He's made a concerted effort, as Jon Scheinman noted, to rip away at the body and has not been discouraged at all, and he realizes that's one way to slow down Whitley.
Whitley trying to hold on right now. Nice uppercut inside by Walton scored.
Could see some fatigue here on Whitley. He's got a lot of fights. He's not a young fighter.
He's fought once in the year 2002. 34 years old, Derrick Whitley. Battling George Blaze Walton. 29, out of New York City. Back with more Ballroom Boxing in a moment. Action for the previous round, round 5, is Whitley content to fight off the ropes. Scoring nicely inside. It was also a good round, though, for George Walton.
Okay.
Maybe his best round of the fight. So this fight apparently getting tighter as each round goes by.
It's a close fight. I've got Whitley ahead by 1 point, but a lot of these punches are being picked off on the inside. You really have to concentrate when you're at ringside. Try not to get distracted from what's happening, and hopefully you have a good angle.
3 rounds to go.
Break, step back, no punches, step back.
Very close fight. George Walton still bleeding from the nose. I don't think that's been a factor. Working nicely to the body.
Walton resolutely trying to hammer away on the inside. Whitley has slowed down his attack. Really counter-punching now.
Oh, the body work by George Walton. I mean, he is just pummeling.
See, and that's
ribs of Whitley.
Sorry, Larry. And that is starting to have an effect on Whitley. He does not like that body punching, but he's going to have to get a little more aggressive and get back into his offensive game plan. Get out in the center of the ring, use the jab, keep him to the outside.
Step back.
He's now allowing Walton to close the distance and get him along the ropes where he's hammering him to the body.
Let him go, let him go.
And some of that at Whitley's got 34-year-old legs. It's easier to back to the ropes and use the ropes for support.
Question about that, Willie, those been the distance many times. Walton.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah, that's right. Walton's never been past 6. This is the 6th round right now. The fight is scheduled for 8. But Walton's hurt. Walton's hurt. He was hurt by Whitley, and down he goes. Down he goes on a nice tight shot by Whitley. First knockdown of the fight, and that is huge on the scorecard.
Give me the gloves. Give me the gloves. Walk to me.
Must have been a short shot on the inside, maybe a left hand. We were blocked by referee Holmes. We couldn't really tell what landed on the inside.
Walton is still hurt, John, and Whitley knows it, I think. Look at Walton's legs. They're wobbly.
Very wobbly.
Step back.
Just when it looked like Walton was getting back into the fight, a huge moment for Derrick Whitley.
Might need to knock him down just to get back into the fight. See Walton trying to load up here. Whitley scores with a right hand.
Walton's whiffing though with those right hands. A little sense of desperation.
Break. Step back, step back, step back.
Walton, you're right, not jabbing. Whitley has switched over to the conventional stance, and Walton could be jabbing right now. As round 6 winds down, Whitley puts Walton down in the 6th. Scheduled for 8. We'll be back to the ballroom in a moment. Action from the 6th round as Derrick Whitley's nice combination on the inside, left-right combination, and another. The uppercut as well, and George Walton had to take a knee to regroup, John. That was a huge knockdown in this fight.
Well, I've got Whitley unofficially ahead. That's a slip.
Give me the gloves.
Slipped in the corner of Whitley, which was wet.
Go on over there.
I got Walton ahead, excuse me, trailing by 3.
Coach.
John Scheinman, do you concur?
58-55 on my unofficial card. That was a critical point in the fight because with only 2 rounds left and 3 points behind, George Walton would have to score a knockdown, if we're correct, to win this fight. But I think the only reason Whitley couldn't finish him is because the body punching has really taken a lot out of him. And I think he was just gassed until he scored the knockdown that got him back into it.
Excellent point.
George Walton on the hunt here now with Whitley. Whitley up against the ropes. He's done some pretty good work up against the ropes, Jon Saraceno.
Well, Whitley's chosen to fight off the ropes. I think part of that's age, but part of it, he's been effective doing that. But I think probably Walton's best moments has been when he's been able to pin Whitley along those ropes. Because when he's out in the middle of the ring with him, and Whitley's using the jab, he's having a much more difficult time with that southpaw style.
Sending Whitley to the corner to do some work on the glove. George Walton standing above us here. They're going to give Whitley some maintenance with the tape. Taking their time. Can't cut that.
Okay, stay right there.
Cut that tape. Got to use his teeth, huh, John? Is that how you cut yours? Now Whitley switches back to the southpaw stance. You know, if George Walton learned something here, he needs to find a different style when he comes up against a guy like Whitley. Got to be able to switch gears.
Well, Whitley, we said coming into this fight, has the experience.
I mean, unless you're a devastating puncher, you have to know how to fight more than one way.
Well, he's learning the hard way on fight night. It's hard to get work like this in a gym.
It's true. Whitley's such a tough character. Whitley would run his record to a 500 mark, 17-17, if he were to win.
I'm not even sure why you want to fight a guy like Whitley when you're building the guy. To be honest with you.
Whitley lost 9 of his first 14 fights.
But since then, right, has a winning record,
right,
and the guy's never been knocked down. So, I mean, what do you gain by fighting a guy like Whitley at this stage of Walton's career? A difficult fight, and the guy's really fighting in his backyard because he's been a staple of ballroom boxing, Whitley has, along with his brother. So, when you're making a fight as a manager, you want as many chips on your side of the table as possible. You don't want to be gambling or taking a chance, at least when you're building a guy.
This fight, once again, is scheduled for 8 rounds. This is the 7th. A lot of blood from the nose of George Walton here.
Well, Walton's going to have to start taking a lot more chances here. Unless he thinks he's ahead in the fight, and I don't believe he thinks that.
Both fighters showing serious signs of fatigue right now. As round 7 winds down. Does Walton need a knockout to win?
We think so.
Good left hand by Walton. At the bell of round 7, the 8th and final round will be next. Corner of George Walton must be telling him he needs at least a knockdown to win this fight. Action from round 7 as it ended. Derrick Whitley and George Walton really firing with some bad intentions.
Hey, touch him up, guys. Touch him up.
The last punch of the round right there. Good left hand by Walton. The 8th and final round is underway. Jon Scheinman with 3 minutes to go. Does Walton need a knockout to win?
Absolutely. The last round was extremely close, but I gave it to Whitley. I thought he did the crisper combination punching. Looks like both guys are going to let it go, though, Larry.
Whitley scoring nicely here at the beginning of round 8.
I'll tell you what, he's not backing into it in any sense. He's really fighting hard there. He's got to feel that he's ahead in this fight. Doesn't have to take chances in the final round.
George Walton's had Whitley up against the ropes several times during the fight and worked the body beautifully.
George Walton in a lot of trouble here.
Whitley with the quicker hands. Walton's already been down once in this fight. Another knockdown right now would probably clinch it for Whitley.
I think the story of this fight was really Whitley's bigger, stronger, and more experienced.
I guess that's a pretty good way of putting it.
And I think the southpaw, when you add that into it, is too much for George Walton to overcome.
Tough learning experience for George Walton.
Step back, step back, step back.
Apparently headed to his first loss as a professional. Unless he can, pull lightning out of a jug here.
Well, you never know. Walton is a very good puncher. Only takes one. He's got to find it and quick.
Step back, no punches, step back.
Whitley said he trained like this was a world championship fight. It was a good opportunity for him to beat an unbeaten fighter and also get his record to the 500 mark. Whitley's done everything he possibly could to win this fight. George Walton continues to battle.
Step back, step back.
Not get anywhere, however.
An impressive performance by Derrick Whitley. A guy who does not have a winning record.
Well, he certainly likes fighting here. This is his 9th fight here. Oh, exchange of power shots there. Whitley getting the better of it, though. You can see Walton.
You see how discouraged Walton is. He really is. He wants to try to land that big shot. He's putting everything into it. But he realizes time is running out.
Break, step back, step back.
Pretty clean fight.
Difficult.
Bill Holmes hasn't had to do much. Walton continues to follow Whitley. Veteran has done a great job here neutralizing the youngster George Walton.
I tell you, it's how Walton comes back from this defeat if he is to lose this fight officially. That's going to tell us about him as a fighter.
Good sportsmanship here in the ballroom as Whitley and Walton go the distance.
I like the way, there's the winner, we think, Derrick Whitley, but I like the way George Walton carries himself as a professional. Class act.
Fight will go to the judges' scorecards. Here at Michael's 8th Avenue, George Walton and Derrick Whitley go the distance. So we will see, was it Derrick Whitley taking home the victory or did George Walton pull it out? We're going to find out from Pat O'Malley when we return. Don't go away. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. We saw a great 8-round fight. It went the distance. George Walton and Derrick Whitley. Action from round 6 as we saw Derrick Whitley get Walton turned around, put him down with a combination. It was a right hand, actually a combination to the head of George Walton that caused him to go down. And at that point in the fight, John, it looked like Walton was putting up a comeback.
He was in the fight, and that totally turned the fight in Whitley's favor.
Let's see if Derrick Whitley won and gets his record to 500. We're going to find out from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We go to the scorecards. Judge Gary Scampaneschi scores it 79-72. Judge John Gradowski scores it 78-73, as does Judge Kenny Chevalier. And the winner by unanimous decision, Derrick Double Impact Whitley.
500.
Derrick Whitley gets it done, runs his record to 500, and man, I tell you what, that's got to make him feel good.
Oh, that's got to be a great feeling. You see action from the fight, a flurry. You saw Whitley really fighting hard in that final round when he really didn't have to, but when he saw Walton come out with bad intentions, he knew Walton needed a knockout. He said, you know what, you're not just going to get over on me that easily. I'm going to fight back. And Whitley hung on, did more than hung on for the victory, 17-17-1.
Derrick Whitley outworks George Walton. That was the difference in this fight tonight. Walton did some good body work, but it was Derrick Whitley throwing the more effective punches. Let's go to John Scheinman in the ring with the winner and runner-up.
Earlier, you said the biggest win of your career was when you retired undefeated George Barksdale here. Now you've beaten undefeated George Walton here. What does this victory mean to you?
In a way, it was kind of stepping stone for me again, coming back in with an undefeated fighter. He's a strong kid. He's smart. He's tough. He didn't give up. and he hits hard. So I had to figure I'd keep my hands up and move, you know, slip and move and try to counterpunch him and keep him off with a jab. But he kept coming. I give him a lot of credit to tell him to keep his head up and keep going, because that's how I started. But a lose is just a gain. You know what I'm saying?
But that's exactly what I was thinking. The counter-punching off the ropes, especially with the body work, was just pivotal for you.
Yeah, he has a tremendous body punching power. I mean, a couple of times he hurt me, but I figured I'd hold on. You know, the ref's going to say break. But you got to do what you got to do to survive and then come back and try to get your points back.
Let's bring George Walton over here for a second. In a tremendous fight. You seem to be methodically working the body the entire night. Did you think that was going to earn you pay dirt in the later rounds?
First of all, I'd like to give all the glory and praise to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for without him, I'm nothing. But yeah, I knew coming into this fight that he was very durable. And just because he had a 16-17 record, that means he had the experience, you know. And yeah, I tried to just land the clean shots, you know, and not waste punches and not get caught out there with his southpaw style. I'm ready for the great fight.
Derrick Whitley, George Walton showing great sportsmanship here. This is a great fight, and Derrick Whitley getting one of the biggest wins of his career. He's one of the kings of the ballroom. Let's go back to ringside.
Good to see that type of sportsmanship. We, of course, fight before the fights, Jon Saraceno and I, but we have made up. Great to have you with us for Ballroom Boxing. More action coming up in a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Time for history in the ballroom, folks. First time a former Olympian has ever seen action in the ballroom. It is Clarence Vinson out of Washington, D.C. Let's go to Jon Scheinman for the outlook on this fight. John.
Larry, this is going to be an outstanding test for the Olympian Clarence Vinson. It's his first time fighting an 8-rounder. He's only gone 6, and he's going against an opponent tonight in Sandro Aviato, who has 40 professional fights under his belt. And Aviato, in the time I've spent with him here in the past couple of days, is one of the nicest guys we've had in the ballroom. I also think he's going to provide a stiff test. Should be a good action fight.
All right, Clarence Vinson in the ring. And John, you know, coming out of the Olympics, if you win a medal, you certainly have it set up for you to be successful as a professional. Clarence Vinson has a lot of potential.
Well, he does. I mean, he fought an HBO in his very first fight. That tells you what promoters and television thought about him.
Yep.
Quick hands, quick feet, a lot of ability. Bantamweight, small guy, but can be entertaining. He's fighting a guy tonight who has, I believe, 5 12-round fights under his belt, and that's key.
Big challenge for the youngster Clarence Vinson tonight. Let's get this one started with Pat O'Malley.
It's time now for more Ballroom Boxing. This 8-round bout in the flyweight division. Introducing the boxers. First to my left, out of the red corner, weighing 119.5 pounds. He hails from Miami, Florida, via Argentina. His record, 22-16-2, 4 KOs. Please welcome Sandro Oviedo. To my right, out of the blue corner, in the black trunks, weighing 119 pounds, he hails from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. He has a perfect record, 5-0, 2 via the KO. Please welcome Clarence, the untouchable Vinson.
Vinson with his toughest test to date, going up against Sandro Oviedo. Let's take a look at the matchup there, John.
Well, Oviedo, you can see the reach advantage, linear reach advantage. Huge for Clarence Vinson.
Clarence Vinson turned pro January of 2001. He is unbeaten at 6-0. Fought just a couple weeks ago. Looking for another victim here tonight. And the man on the agenda is Sandro Oviedo out of Argentina. Vinson has brought some support here from Washington, D.C., his hometown. Bronze medalist in the Sydney Olympics. First Olympian ever to battle in the ballroom. And you might notice the footwear of the Argentinian. Could have bought those in the store there. Johnny's wearing just regular tennis shoes.
I think he did go down to the store and buy a pair of Nikes. That's not a good sign.
It's Vinson, just, you know, bred to be a boxer, just great amateur career. 185-11 in the amateurs. Ballroom Boxing brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Great to be with you as always. Ballroom Boxing, coast to coast. The defense there by Clarence Vinson. The test here for Clarence Vinson is the length of the fight, the 8 rounds. I'm not so sure it'll go that far.
We just don't know. He may not know either. But at this point, he should be trained to be able to go 8 rounds, and I'm sure that's not going to be a problem.
Sandro Oviedo, pretty strong character. John, all the different fighters we've seen in the ballroom, we've never seen a former Olympian in here, and Clarence Vinson is the first.
I don't know if we've seen any bantamweights. I can't remember any.
Check the weights as we did the matchup. 119 pounds at the weigh-in yesterday for Clarence Vinson.
Come on out.
119.5 for Sandro Oviedo.
Oviedo with a lot of experience, as you talked about. And that's going to come in handy against a guy like Vinson. A little bit of blood from Vinson's lip, I think, lower lip. Vinson way on the outside, missing wildly. Oh, Clarence is very... Oh, nice uppercut by Vinson.
Uppercut knocked the liquid out of the nose of Oviedo. The thing was the other side of the ring there, John, huh?
I brought my Kleenex.
Vinson really wanting to put some hurt on him now. Blood from the mouth of Clarence Vinson, you're right.
Swelling and some redness on Oviedo's face already.
Some blood from Oviedo's nose. Oviedo turned pro when Clarence Vinson was just 10 years old. This fight is scheduled for 8 in the ballroom. We'll be back. Round 2 is next. Action from round 1. Look for the uppercut. Oh, here you saw that. So what was that stuff flying there, John? Just a whole bunch of stuff flying through the air there.
I think John Madden would call that a slobber knocker.
Yeah, I would call it the same thing. In any event, Clarence Vinson with the punch of round 1. The slobber knocker, as you called it. There's a knocker slobber.
In case you're wondering how tall Oviedo is or how short, he's 5'1". And when he was on the stool, his feet were barely touching the canvas. I've never seen that. I guess if you hang around long enough, you see everything.
Vinson a little upset. Got bloody in the mouth in round 1. Kind of took it out on his opponent.
No fighter likes to taste his own blood, and Vinson really turned it up there towards the end of the first round. You can see what kind of a compact puncher Vinson is. Puts his shots together very nicely. Turns them over. It's a lot of power from a small frame. Right hand by Oviedo. Oviedo fighting back here, Larry.
Oviedo, 37 years old, the veteran.
Step back.
Been around a long time. 22-15-2. Just 4 knockouts, though. He did not crack the proverbial egg, as they say. 22 wins and just 4 knockouts.
I'm not sure he could break a window pane with an anvil in his glove. Not a big puncher at all.
Have to be a mighty small anvil, John, to be in his glove.
Well, he's a small guy.
Clarence Vinson, the Olympian from Sydney. All business. He might have gotten his mouth busted by the head of Sandro Oviedo.
Oh, Oviedo's face already matching his trunks.
Ripping left hand to the body. Just buckles Oviedo, and he is down to a knee.
No knockdown, no knockdown. That's low.
Kenny Chevalier says it was a low shot.
He said no.
Give me gloves, give me gloves.
I thought that got him right. You can see the welt on the side of his body.
That looked like a legitimate knockdown there.
I think that's just going to upset Clarence Vinson even more.
Well, some of our ringside observers are saying it's low. I'll have to watch for the old videotape.
That's why they invented videotape. And look at Vincent. I mean, just like a buzzsaw going right at the opponent.
He is picking him apart.
Got to give the man some credit for some heart.
And that shot was right down the middle. That wasn't low.
Square right in the middle of the gut. Ovedo's got to do something to stop the onslaught of Clarence Vincent. Big overhand right by Vincent. So Vincent bringing that left hand down low, just trying to pick up the pace, trying to draw Sandro Oviedo in. Oviedo looking to his corner for some help. They can't help him. Good round for Clarence Vincent, showing why he is such a highly touted prospect. Clarence Vincent in the Ballroom tonight on Ballroom Boxing. Looking back at action from round 3, let's see if it was a low blow. Oh no, that got him right in the midsection. Not even close. Not even close. Caught him right in the breadbasket. Was not called a knockdown. Clarence Vincent, though, you could tell after that was not called a knockdown, he got upset. Time for round 3, Ballroom Boxing. Brought to you by Toyota. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Jon Scheinman with us as well. What do you think of Clarence Vincent, Jon Scheinman?
Well, he looks spectacular to me. I mean, he's fighting a guy who has won an Argentinian national title. He's fought for a WBO world title. When you're a bantamweight, if you're an up-and-coming fighter, there's not a whole lot of guys to choose from, and he's had to take on a tough guy here, and he's dismantling him with body shots. I've got him ahead 2017. Gave him a 10-8 round there, even without a knockdown.
All right, Mr. Scheinman, good job. Larry Michael, Jon Saraceno ringside. John, it's only going to be a matter of time. Vincent certainly outclassing Sandro Oviedo.
Well, Oviedo is overmatched, and he's really too old and too slow. Vincent is so quick, he almost punched himself right through the ropes. Really, Oviedo cannot deal with this kind of speed that Vincent has. He's trying, but he doesn't have enough of a punch to keep Clarence off.
Vincent smiling at him now, kind of laughing.
Let him out, let him out. And don't push on it, okay?
Once again, you know, a young guy like Clarence Vincent, every fight a learning experience. Not cutting off the ring at all, just following the opponent around, but scores with a right hand.
Well, Oviedo tasted that power on the inside, and that's why he's moving the way he is. He can't.
How long can he do that for?
Well, a couple, I know, especially on those legs.
Look at the body work from Clarence Vincent, the total package. There's a give me some more. I'm sure he'll give him some more if he wants it.
He's got a head like a battering ram.
It's rather large for the size of his body, isn't it, John?
That is a sizable cabeza.
He's trying to frustrate Clarence Vincent, who should not fall prey to this game that the veteran is playing.
Oviedo can get away with that because he doesn't have any neck, so when he sticks his head out, it doesn't go out very far.
Oviedo, a little comeback here. Cannot punch, though. Has no punching power. Clarence Vincent, good head movement.
I tell you what, if that's his best imitation of Sugar Ray Leonard with that head moving forward, he's going to have to do a lot better. Look at him. He's doing Ray Leonard. Well, I shouldn't say that. Ray, if he's listening to this, he's going to be angry.
Clarence Vincent tagging the Argentinian.
You know what? If I were the Argentinian, I don't think I'd be embarrassing a guy in his hometown who could fight like this, who was an Olympian. He's going to pay for it.
Watch the headbutt there as Sandro Oviedo comes in head first. Certainly an entertaining fight in the ballroom. Clarence Vincent, the Olympian, is here, and he's in front through 3. Round 4 is next. Don't go away. Action from round 3. It's Clarence Vincent going to the body and head. Clarence Vincent just dominating right now.
He's destroying him.
Round 4 underway here in the ballroom. And I'm going to bring Jon Scheinman in quickly. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno ringside. Ballroom Boxing brought to you by Budweiser. And Jon Scheinman, how far do you think Clarence Vincent can go?
Oh, well, definitely he can win a world title. There's no question about it. I mean, he's got all the tools. He's a great defensive fighter, good body puncher, fast hands. I just want to quickly say, I think Oviedo did a great job in that last round. His survival instincts are superb. And if he's going to play around like that and get Vincent out of his game.
Big right hand by Vincent. Sorry, John.
It's okay. The action took precedence.
Oh, he goes down with the right hand. I'm not so sure he's getting up.
If he's smart, he won't.
Oviedo rolls over on all fours, struggling. Chevalier is over top of him, and he's going to let this go. Oviedo showing huge stones.
Hey, stop the pushing, okay?
See if Vincent can finish him off. I mean, I didn't think Oviedo was going to get up, John. Standing toe-to-toe.
I'm surprised he did. Particularly at his age, he is taking a beating. I'll tell you what, Kenny Chevalier has got to watch this real closely.
I mean, this guy might have more courage than he needs to have.
Exactly. And protect a fighter from himself when he's too brave. And this Oviedo guy looks too brave.
That big old head out there is a target.
Yeah, he still has some kind of reflexes to get away. He is in a lot of pain. He is wincing.
Covering his body. I mean, look at him. He's got his arms crossed against his body.
He's still punching back.
Somehow he's got the energy to flurry off the ropes.
Fight it.
Oh, another good shot by Vincent into a knee. Goes Sandro Oviedo. I mean, he showed so much heart, I'd be surprised if he just quit down there. No, he's okay coming forward.
This is a question of honor for this guy.
That's right. Clarence Vincent wants the knockout. He wants his 4th professional knockout.
Amazing thing is Oviedo keeps throwing punches back.
It's unbelievable. Their prayers, down he goes again. Kenny Chevalier taking a look at it. Will Oviedo get up? He does.
Yeah. Last one. Let's go.
Kenny just told him last one. Gutty performance by the Argentinian, if nothing else.
Clarence Vincent, just all business, wants to finish it off right now, right here. Round coming to a close, and Oviedo apparently has survived. Clarence Vincent just throwing everything he has on Sandro Oviedo. And I'm going to be surprised if Oviedo can come out for round 5. We'll find out in a moment. This is Ballroom Boxing. Looking back, action from round 4 as Clarence Vincent has been dominating. Backs away. Trying to get Oviedo down here. He did go down in this round.
Top of the forehead.
Yep.
Amazing thing, he came out for this round.
Let's see if he can survive. Don't forget to check us out on the web, www.ballroomboxing.com. Gives you the updates on the next fights coming up here in the Ballroom, as well as Ballroom Boxing merchandise.
I mean, Vincent is pounding him like he's a piñata. But Oviedo just keeps moving forward. Undaunted. Amazing. Little too gutty, though.
Big-time body work by Clarence Vincent, and that is going to do it.
Well, his corner came up on the ring apron. They knew the kid had enough. I don't know what they were waiting for to begin with. Could have stopped that fight between rounds. Probably should have been.
TKO.
So the Olympian, Clarence Vincent, remains unbeaten, runs his record to 7-0 with 4 knockouts as he puts away the very tough Sandro Oviedo. And you know, Jon Saraceno, we see a kid right there, Clarence Vincent. Remains unbeaten, the former Olympian. I'll ask you the same question I asked John Scheinman.
Thank you, Bill.
How far can Clarence Vincent go?
Well, he'll go as far as his discipline and ability to keep his eye on the ball will take him. I mean, frankly, he's got all the tools. You see what kind of fighter he is. fine defensive fighter, a lot of offense, has a lot of skill, speed, power, reflexes. He's got the whole package. He's the franchise at bantamweight.
He's got the whole package, you're right. It won't be long before we see Clarence Vinson in the ring fighting for a world championship. I would say that maybe 2003.
He needs a couple of years of seasoning. You know, you don't want to rush him. There's no reason to do that. He got hit with some punches tonight. Maybe he shouldn't have got hit with. Got a little careless at times. It ended up being that kind of a brawl at the end of the fight. But he's going to learn from an experience like that. And the guy should become a world champion.
Let's get the official word on the final of the Clarence Vinson fight from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by TKO, 39 seconds into round 5, the former bronze medalist in the Olympics in Sydney, Australia, Clarence, the untouchable Vinson.
Clarence Vinson victorious here in the ballroom. Looking back on how this fight ended, look at the body work here, John.
Well, you see him throwing a long looping right hand, digging downstairs, and that was the difference right there. Those body shots.
Oh, man.
Oviedo just couldn't take any more punishment, and thank God he couldn't, because it was becoming difficult to watch from ringside.
Wow. All right, Clarence Vinson victorious. He's standing by with Jon Scheinman.
Boy, that Sandro Aviato was a tough guy. I mean, he seemed to be taking everything, and then he threw a little Ray Leonard at you. What did you feel about that kind of opponent?
Well, you know, I knew that he had a lot of fights, so he had more experience than me. But, you know, I knew that I was going to get him eventually. I trained hard for this fight. I got a little carried away at times when I got him hurt, you know. But, and when I did that, he made me pay for it. He made me miss and stuff when I lunged in. And that's what I need. Right now, I'm just growing, you know. But like I said at the beginning, I am one of the best Olympians, and I'm going to prove it to the world. I told him when all the smoke cleared, I was still going to be here. A couple of Olympians already lost. I'm still here. Like I said, I will be the bantamweight champ of the world. You can bet that.
Should we expect to see that kind of body work as you step up against tougher competition? I mean, it seemed like you were really focused on taking his arms down early in the fight.
Yeah, because I seen that he had a lot of good upper movement. So he was making me miss a lot. But I knew if I went to his body, I couldn't miss. So that's what I did.
What's coming up for you, Clarence? Anything on the schedule?
I know in June I fight on ESPN2. Right now we're just looking for certain things, you know, that's going to be good for me. And, you know, I'm just going to leave it to my manager. And whatever he says, whatever him, Gary Gittleson, and Lou DiBella say, hey, that's what's happening with Clarence Vinson.
Clarence Vinson, this is a spectacular victory in front of a lot of hometown fans. The Olympian chalking it up as a pro now. Let's go back to ringside.
Impressive performance by Clarence Vinson. We'll wrap it up from the ballroom in a moment. Ballroom Boxing is brought to you by Toyota, by Budweiser, the king of beers, and by Michael's 8th Avenue. Well, another great night of boxing is in the books here at Michael's 8th Avenue, and we saw the first Olympian to ever fight in the ballroom, Clarence Vinson, and boy, was he impressive.
It was a treat. Clarence Vinson used all of his skills as a fighter, offensively and defensively, really overwhelmed an overmatched opponent tonight.
Great night. I had a lot of fun. Did you?
Let's do it again.
We hope you had fun as well. For Jon Scheinman and Jon Saraceno, I'm Larry Michael. We'll see you next time for Ballroom Boxing.